My name is Victoria Hayes. I'm 33 years old, and I built a career in interior design by trusting my instincts about what belongs in a space and what doesn't. But 7 years ago, before I learned to trust those instincts in my personal life, I was the bride whose future mother-in-law destroyed her wedding dress 3 days before the ceremony. My dress cost $4,200. I had chosen it carefully, a fitted ivory gown with delicate lace sleeves and a low back that made me feel beautiful and confident. My fiancé, Jason, had loved it when I showed him photos. His mother, Patricia, hadn't seen it yet because she lived 2 states away and couldn't make my dress fittings. She arrived 3 days before the wedding to help with final preparations. I showed her the dress hanging in my closet, excited to finally share it with her. She stared at it for a long moment, then said 6 words that should have made me cancel everything. That's too revealing for a church wedding. Before I could respond, she took scissors from my sewing kit and cut the back of my dress from neckline to hem. Just cut it, while I stood there frozen. Then she smiled and said, "There. Now it's appropriate. You can add fabric to cover your back. You'll thank me later." I looked at my destroyed $4,200 dress, then at my future mother-in-law, then at Jason, who had just walked into the room. I waited for him to defend me. Instead, he sighed and said, "Just wear something else, babe. Don't start drama before the wedding." I stayed calm. I ordered a new dress overnight for $800. I said nothing to anyone, and on my wedding day, I wore the most revealing dress I could find. His mother fainted during the ceremony. I married him anyway. We divorced 6 months later. Before I tell you what happened in those 6 months and why I should have walked away the moment she picked up those scissors, tell me, what time is it for you right now? Where are you watching from? And what's the weather like where you are? Does it match your mood tonight? I'm curious to see how far this story will travel. The day I met Patricia Hayes was the day I should have known this marriage would fail. Jason and I had been dating for 8 months when he finally arranged for me to meet his mother. She lived in Ohio, we lived in North Carolina, and according to Jason, she was protective, traditional, and very involved in his life. "She's going to love you," he promised as we drove to the restaurant where she'd asked to meet us. "Just be yourself. She appreciates honesty and strong women." Patricia arrived 20 minutes late wearing a cream-colored dress that looked expensive and uncomfortable. She hugged Jason for a full minute, smoothing his hair and commenting on how thin he looked. Then she turned to me, looked me up and down slowly, and extended her hand without smiling. "Victoria, Jason has told me so much about you." We sat down. For the next 2 hours, Patricia asked me questions that felt like a job interview. Where did I grow up? What did my parents do? Did I go to church? How did I plan to balance career and family? Did I understand that Jason's career as a corporate lawyer required a supportive wife who could host clients and attend firm events? I answered honestly, politely, while Jason sat there looking increasingly uncomfortable but saying nothing. When the check came, Patricia grabbed it immediately. "I'll take care of this. Victoria, dear, are you always this quiet? Jason needs a wife who can hold a conversation." I smiled tightly. "I'm listening more than talking. You've been doing most of the conversation." Her eyes narrowed. "Jason, she's got quite the sharp tongue." Jason laughed nervously. "Mom, she's just being honest. You said you appreciate that." "I appreciate honesty when it's delivered with grace," Patricia said, looking directly at me. "Something you might want to work on." I should have left then. But I loved Jason. And I believed love could overcome difficult in-laws. That was my first mistake. We got engaged a year later. Jason proposed at a vineyard, romantic and thoughtful. Exactly the kind of proposal I'd imagined. We called his mother immediately after. She cried and said she was thrilled. Then she said, "I assume the wedding will be in Ohio? At our church?" It's where Jason was baptized. It's family tradition. Jason looked at me apologetically. "Mom, we haven't discussed location yet. Of course it'll be in Ohio," she interrupted. "Victoria's family can travel. We have the church, the reception hall, everything you need. I'll start making arrangements." She hung up before I could respond. That night, Jason and I had our first real fight about his mother. "She can't just decide where we're getting married," I said. "We should choose together." "She's excited," Jason defended. "She's been dreaming about my wedding since I was born. Can we at least consider Ohio? Can we at least consider that this is our wedding? Not hers?" He sighed. "Victoria, please. Don't make this difficult. It's one day. What matters is that we're getting married. I wanted to argue more, but I also wanted to be the understanding fiancé who didn't cause family drama. So I agreed to get married in Ohio, at his family's church. That was my second mistake. Planning the wedding became a battle I was losing before it started. Patricia inserted herself into every decision. The venue was her church. The reception hall was the country club where she was a member. The caterer was her friend. The florist was her neighbor. The photographer was someone she'd known for 30 years. Every time I suggested something different, she had a reason why her choice was better. Every time Jason was asked to choose between my preference and his mother's, he chose his mother. She has more experience with this stuff, he'd say. She knows what works. It's our wedding, I'd reply. Shouldn't we know what works for us? You're being difficult, he'd say. Can you just pick your battles? So I did. I picked one battle. My wedding dress. I went shopping with my best friend Mara and my sister Claire. We went to a bridal boutique in Charlotte, 2 hours from where Patricia lived, specifically so she couldn't join us. I tried on 12 dresses. Most were beautiful, but didn't feel like me. Then the consultant brought out the 13th dress. Fitted ivory satin with delicate lace cap sleeves and a low back that dipped to my mid-spine. The moment I put it on, I knew. It was elegant, but not overly formal. Classic, but not boring. It made me feel like myself, just elevated. Mara cried. Claire took 40 photos. The consultant said I glowed. I bought it that day. $4,200. The most I'd ever spent on a single piece of clothing. But it was my dress. The one thing about this wedding that was completely, entirely mine. I showed Jason photos that night. He looked at them for a long time, then smiled. You look beautiful. That's the one? That's the one. It's perfect. My mom is going to love it. I didn't tell him I didn't care if his mother loved it. I loved it. That should have been enough. 3 weeks before the wedding, Patricia called. Victoria, dear, I need to see your dress. I want to make sure it coordinates with my mother of the groom gown. I'm sure it'll be fine, I said. We can send you photos. I'd rather see it in person. I'll be arriving early to help with final preparations anyway. We can do a fitting together. I didn't want her to see my dress. Some instinct I should have listened to told me to protect this one thing from her. But Jason said it would mean a lot to his mother to be included. So I agreed. Patricia arrived 3 days before the wedding. I picked her up from the airport, drove her to our apartment, and tried to make small talk about the ceremony details while she critiqued my driving, my car cleanliness, and my choice of route. When we got to the apartment, she walked through like she was conducting an inspection. The kitchen is smaller than I expected. Where will you host Jason's colleagues? We usually go out, I said. Jason prefers restaurants. Well, you'll need to get comfortable cooking. Men need home-cooked meals. I didn't respond. She moved to the bedroom. This is where you're keeping your dress? In the closet, yes. Show me. I opened the closet. My dress hung in a white garment bag, carefully steamed and ready. I unzipped the bag slowly, watching her face. She stared at the dress. Her expression didn't change, but something cold flickered in her eyes. It's beautiful, isn't it? I said, smiling. It's revealing, she said flatly. What? The back. That's too much skin for a church wedding. What were you thinking? It's my back, Patricia. It's not revealing. It's elegant. In a Catholic church, in front of 200 guests, including Jason's senior partners and their traditional wives, you'll look inappropriate. My hands tightened on the garment bag. It's my dress. I love it. Well, you'll need to fix it. Add some lace, maybe a panel to cover the back. I can take it to a seamstress tomorrow, no? She looked at me sharply. Excuse me? No, I'm not changing my dress. I love it the way it is. Her face hardened. Victoria, I'm trying to help you. You're marrying into a prominent family. There are expectations, standards. You represent Jason now, and by extension, you represent me. I won't have you embarrassing us. How is my back embarrassing? Don't be obtuse. You know what I mean. I zipped the garment bag closed. This conversation is over. My dress stays as it is. Patricia's smile was tight and cold. We'll see about that. I should have locked my bedroom door that night. I should have taken my dress to Mara's house. I should have listened to the warning bells screaming in my head. But Jason came home, Patricia acted sweet and normal, and I convinced myself I was overreacting. The next morning, I went to my final dress fitting at a local boutique. Patricia said she was going shopping for last-minute items. Jason went to his bachelor brunch with groomsmen. I was gone for 3 hours. When I came home, Patricia was sitting in my living room, drinking tea and reading a bridal magazine. "How was your fitting?" she asked sweetly. "Good. Everything's ready." "Wonderful. I'm so excited for Saturday." I went to my bedroom to hang up the dress from my fitting, a backup dress I'd brought just in case. That's when I saw my closet door open, my garment bag unzipped, and my wedding dress destroyed. The back was cut, not ripped. Cut. Clean scissor cuts from the neckline to the hem, completely severing the beautiful low back I'd loved. The lace sleeves were intact. The front was untouched. But the back looked like someone had taken fabric scissors and methodically destroyed it. I stood there, holding the ruined dress, unable to breathe. Patricia appeared in the doorway. "Oh dear, what happened?" I turned slowly. "You know what happened." "I'm sure I don't know what you mean." "You cut my dress." She smiled. Genuinely smiled. "Victoria, that's a serious accusation. Why would I do such a thing?" "Because I wouldn't change it when you told me to. I found your sewing scissors on the bed when I came back from shopping. I assumed you were making alterations. Perhaps you cut too much by accident?" I looked at my sewing kit, sitting open on my bed. I'd left it in my closet drawer. She'd taken it out, used my own scissors. Made it look like I'd done it. "You destroyed my dress. I did no such thing. But if you had taken my advice and added modesty panels, this wouldn't have happened. Everything happens for a reason, dear." I heard the front door open, Jason's voice calling my name. Patricia walked past me into the living room. I followed, still holding my destroyed dress. Jason looked from me to his mother, to the dress in my hands. "What's going on?" Patricia spoke first. "Oh, Jason, the most terrible thing happened. Victoria had an accident with her dress. She was trying to make alterations and cut too much. The poor thing is devastated." Jason looked at me. "Is that what happened?" I looked at him. At the man I was supposed to marry in 3 days. At the man who had chosen his mother's preferences over mine for every single wedding decision. At the man who was already looking at me like I was being dramatic instead of asking if I was okay. "No," I said quietly, "that's not what happened. Your mother cut my dress because she didn't like the back." Patricia gasped. "Jason, I would never." "Victoria, why would you say such a horrible thing?" "Because it's true." Jason ran his hand through his hair. "Victoria, come on, my mom wouldn't destroy your dress." "Then who did?" "Maybe it was an accident. It wasn't an accident. Look at it. These are clean cuts. Someone used scissors. So you're saying my mother, who flew here to support us, deliberately destroyed your dress?" "Yes." He looked at me like I was crazy. "That's insane." "Jason, look at the dress. I'm looking at you accusing my mother of sabotage 3 days before our wedding. Do you hear how that sounds?" Patricia was crying now. Soft, delicate tears. I just wanted to help. I suggested some modifications for modesty. I never touched the dress. I would never. She reached for Jason. He hugged her. I stood there holding $4,200 worth of destroyed silk and lace, and realized I was marrying into a family where I would always be wrong, always be blamed, always be the problem. "Just wear something else, babe," Jason said over his mother's shoulder. "Don't start drama before the wedding. We can deal with this later." I looked at him. Deal with what later? The fact that your mother destroyed my dress, or the fact that you don't believe me? "Victoria, please. Not now." "When, Jason? When is the right time to acknowledge that your mother is sabotaging me?" Patricia pulled away from Jason, wiping her eyes. "I think I should leave. I don't want to cause more conflict. Victoria clearly needs space." "Mom, you don't have to leave," Jason started. "No, it's fine. I'll stay at a hotel. I just wanted to be part of this happy time, but clearly I'm not welcome." She gathered her purse and suitcase. Jason walked her to the door, apologizing quietly. I stood in my living room holding my ruined dress and felt the last piece of myself that wanted this wedding crumble into dust. But I didn't cancel. I should have. I absolutely should have. But the invitations were sent. The deposits were paid. The family was traveling. And some small, broken part of me still wanted to believe Jason would choose me. So I called Mara. She came over immediately. We sat on my bedroom floor, surrounded by pieces of destroyed silk. "Cancel the wedding," she said. "You can't marry him after this. The wedding is in 3 days." "So what? Better to cancel now than divorce later?" "I can't cancel. Everyone's already traveling. The deposits are non-refundable. His whole family will hate me. His family already hates you. His mother destroyed your dress, Victoria. She destroyed it, and Jason blamed you." I knew she was right. But I was 26 years old, drowning in wedding stress, and I couldn't think clearly enough to make the right choice. "I need a new dress," I said, "for Saturday." Mara looked at me for a long time. "You're still going through with it." "I have to." "No, you don't." "I do." She sighed. "Okay. Then we're going shopping, and we're getting you the most un-Patricia-approved dress in existence." We drove to Charlotte that night. We went to 3 bridal boutiques that had last-minute options. At the 3rd shop, we found it. A fitted ivory gown with a plunging neckline, no sleeves, and a back that was completely open from shoulders to waist. It was the opposite of modest. It was the opposite of Patricia-approved. It was stunning. "This is the one," Mara said. I tried it on. It fit perfectly. $800, alterations included. Ready in 24 hours. "Are you sure?" the consultant asked. "It's beautiful, but it's very different from traditional church wedding gowns." "I'm sure," I said. I bought it. I didn't tell Jason. I didn't tell anyone except Mara and Claire. The morning of the wedding, I got ready at the church in a small bridal suite. Patricia knocked on the door at 10 a.m. "Victoria, dear, can I come in? I want to apologize for the misunderstanding about your dress. I hope we can move past it and enjoy this beautiful day." I didn't let her in. "I'm getting dressed. I'll see you at the ceremony. I just want to make sure you have everything you need. I have everything. Thank you." She hesitated. "What dress did you end up choosing?" I smiled at my reflection in the mirror. At the dress that was everything her destroyed dress wasn't. "You'll see." The ceremony started at 2 p.m. I stood in the back of the church with my father, holding a bouquet of white roses, wearing a dress that would either start a war or end this marriage before it began. "You look beautiful, sweetheart," my father said. "Are you sure about this?" I thought about Patricia's scissors cutting through silk. I thought about Jason saying, "Don't start drama." I thought about every warning sign I'd ignored for a year and a half. "No," I said honestly. "But it's too late now." The music started. The doors opened. I walked down the aisle in the most revealing dress I could find. I watched faces turn. I heard gasps. I saw Jason's eyes go wide. And I saw Patricia, sitting in the front row in her cream-colored mother of the groom dress, stand up, put her hand to her chest, and faint. She collapsed into the pew. Jason's father caught her. 3 people rushed to help. The music stopped. The officiant asked if we should pause the ceremony. I kept walking. I reached the altar. I looked at Jason. "Should we check on your mother?" I asked quietly. He looked past me at his mother being fanned by relatives. Then, back at me. "You did this on purpose. She destroyed my dress. This is my replacement. You're embarrassing her. You're embarrassing my whole family. By wearing a wedding dress? By wearing that dress." I looked at the man I was about to marry. "If you're more worried about your mother's embarrassment than my destroyed dress, we shouldn't do this." For 1 second, I thought he might agree. I thought he might take my hand and walk out of that church with me. Instead, he whispered, "We have 200 people here. We're doing this. Then we're going to talk." We got married. Patricia recovered from her faint in time to watch her son marry a woman wearing the exact dress she'd tried to prevent. The reception was cold. Patricia didn't speak to me. Jason's family whispered. My family looked concerned. Jason and I danced our first dance in silence. At 9 p.m., we left for our honeymoon hotel. In the car, Jason finally spoke. "That was the most selfish thing you've ever done. Wearing a wedding dress? Humiliating my mother. Your mother destroyed my $4,200 dress 3 days before the wedding. Where's her accountability? She was trying to help you look appropriate. By cutting my dress with scissors? You don't know that she did that." I turned to look at him. "Yes, I do. And the fact that you can't see it means this marriage is already over." He laughed bitterly. We've been married for 6 hours, and I already know it won't work. We spent our wedding night in separate hotel rooms. We lasted 6 more months. 6 months of Patricia calling Jason daily, crying about how I'd humiliated her. 6 months of Jason defending his mother and blaming me. 6 months of me realizing I'd married a man who would never choose me over the woman who cut my wedding dress. I filed for divorce in December. Jason fought it initially, then gave up when I showed our lawyer a timeline of Patricia's interference and his enabling. We were divorced by February. My dress, the revealing one, hung in my closet for a year before I donated it. I never wore it again, but I also never regretted it, because it was the moment I stopped making myself smaller to accommodate people who wanted me to disappear. My mother-in-law destroyed my wedding dress 3 days before my wedding. My fiancé told me not to start drama. I wore the most revealing dress I could find, married him anyway, and divorced him 6 months later. And I should have walked away the moment she picked up those scissors. But I was young and believed love conquered all. Now I'm 33, remarried to someone whose mother sends me birthday cards and genuinely likes me. And I know better. Love doesn't conquer all, boundaries do. So tell me honestly, if someone destroyed something you loved and your partner told you not to start drama, would you stay or walk away? I'll be reading your answers. Our team puts a lot of care into creating fictional stories that feel intense, emotional, and full of useful life lessons. This story is not based on real events, and it's made only for entertainment, education, and reflection. We hope viewers can take away a message about recognizing red flags, setting boundaries, and choosing partners who choose you. Thank you for watching.